you will be using all day long. Okay? That's what we're doing, okay? So guess what? We're going to take a little break now. Okay? Let's take a break. Okay. Now, just so you all know kind of how we're going to do this, within this next section, which will last approximately an hour, I'm thinking, or so, approximately, we're going to be having our first go at, actually experiencing the past life regression, and then we'll take a break for lunch, and then we'll reconvene, and we'll do it again afterwards, and then we'll do it again after that, and then we'll do it again after. No, I don't know. We'll see how many times we get around to it, but we'll get a few in there. Just because, again, it's like anything, familiarity. You'll get better at it as you go. Okay, well, the first thing, the main thing that you're going to want to really, really, and please get it in your heads right now. Make no mistake about this. As we get into this session, and every time we are doing this, you may not go to sleep. Don't go to sleep. Don't go to sleep.
What if you can't help it?
Then I'll help you stay awake. Because obviously that defeats the purpose, right? Because you don't want to go sleep. And yet I understand and acknowledge it is a challenge, because as a matter of fact, the goal is to get real relaxed, real in there. Don't go to sleep. See, so you're walking a fine line, and I know that, and hey, we've all gone to sleep, meditating and doing things. So, it's not the end of the world, but might be for you if you go to sleep on me. I don't take these things lightly. I want you to know. I won't. Don't worry. Okay, but what are the safeguards we will use is this. Obviously, we're going to be lying down. The rug is nice and clean and everything. So, and we look like a slumber party over here. Got a whole bunch of pillows. So we're going to, at one point, you'll find your little spot, and we'll do that. And I'll describe the technique here in a minute. But as we do it, we're going to have you lying down. And I'm going to ask that we kind of monitor each other. And the thing is, when you're in that state, if you do go to sleep, you normally what happens is the way you normally can tell is the breathing will change. Okay, so if your partner, I was going to say your partner, but we're not going to really be partnering. But if the person next to you, you sense that they're going to sleep, nudge them just a little bit. Okay, nudge them, just nudge them. So again, therefore, if you are nudged, please know why you got nudged, right? Don't think the person next to you is just trying to get fresh or something. Because as a matter of fact, they won't nudge you unless you're sleeping. And as you all know, when we do this, it's so easy to drift into sleep and not know it. That's the deal. It is so easy. Really. It happens to all of us. Again, we're just dealing with a very human element, the physical body element, and something that we just have to deal with. So all I'm asking is that you make a supreme effort, and please do your very, very best to not go to sleep. Because, we will be getting you very relaxed. That's the purpose of it. You have to be to get into this, right? You have to. We're going to be using what we call the cold towel technique, and that is basically a very simple thing of just having a big tub of water with ice cubes and face cloths in it. And we're going to be pulling them out and bringing them out, and they'll be real cold because it's got to be folded in half. You just fold it in half, and then wherever you're lying down, you'll be place it across your eyes and forehead, just like that. Just like that. And what happens is that the coldness of it changes the body chemistry just a taste. And it, I would say, causes the body to go into a state that it normally assumes when you are sleeping. So that's the deal, see? So we're kind of getting into, I call it a drugless sedative. Because as a matter of fact, you'll feel like you're sedated, you're out. And that's how you're supposed to feel. But you do not lose consciousness. That's the difference. Normally, when your body gets in that state, you're gone. You lose consciousness. Obviously, that's not what we want to do. But we want you to get in that state so that you can perceive the things that one normally only perceives when you are sleeping. The guides have mentioned that the blood tends to rush on the surface of the skin when we're awake, active, But then when you go to sleep, it tends to go into the internal. It goes more in the internal brain centers, the internal organs, and nourishes, and heals and all the things it does. So that's when the body temperature will drop a degree or two, which is usually why people want to, have a blanket. I don't think we need any blankets, but if you do, let us know, and, we may have you on hand. I can't imagine it's going to be cold. Of course, I'm never cold, so I don't know what it feels like. But some of you might be, and if you are, then, you might need a blankie. If you do, we'll have one or two over here. So you'll want to get in that state. Now, I don't know why I really wasn't going to include this, but I'm getting the nudge to include it, so I'm going to include it. And it's this. They want me to describe a little bit about the process of what happens, and it's this. They tell us that every night when you're ready to go to sleep, there will come a moment, and it is not usually consciously done. We do this semi-consciously or completely unconsciously. There's a moment when you actually decide it's time to go to sleep. We do. Everybody does. You just go. That's it. Done. Sleep. Okay, and at that moment, you will flash a picture of usually where you're going to sleep that night. Most people know. So when you do it, and again, this goes by very quickly. It's like a subliminal. You don't normally do it consciously, but you do it, and your subconscious mind catches it. And the minute it sees that, it knows, okay, I have my job to do. And what it does, it starts to alter the body chemistry and such. And so little by little, it starts to create a change that's already going on as you're kind of, stumbling toward your bed or whatever. So by the time you lay down, most of us, unless you have insomnia, will go right out. And that's why, because you're already halfway there. Like, have you ever had that terrible experience when you think you're going to sleep and then something or someone wakes you or doesn't want you to, and you're like, what? Because it reverses that, and it's really a nuisance. You don't want to do that. So this is one of the things where you will see that thing, and then the body starts to move in that direction. Okay, so that happens naturally, or automatically, if you will. We're going to induce that manually, so to speak, by doing the cold towel, because it does the same thing by putting the coldness. It causes the body temperature to drop. You will go into that state. Okay, but again, do not go to sleep. And again, if you sense that the person next to you is doing that, just nudge them. If you get nudged, as I said already, I know I'm being redundant, but there's a reason for it. Please know that it's for a reason, and don't just hit the person back or something. Because they won't touch you unless you're going to sleep. Okay, so what we're going to have you do is lay down, and then put that on, and then and it'll take a while because obviously you notice there's a few of us here, so it'll take a few minutes. So you may get your cold towel before 3 other people do. So just allow yourself to go within. But before we do that, let us pray. Because I do want to start with an invocation, because we need to do that. So, okay, let's see. I am so aware of our friends in spirit more than I have been all day long, frankly, because all of a sudden as I shift my attention to the higher dimension, I'm aware of them very kindly. We have quite a wonderful gathering here of guides and teachers and loved ones and sweet angel type beings who are here. So to all of you, dear ones who are here forming this wonderful host of guidance and protection, we are formally fulfilling the requirements of the law and the protocol of spirit contact by inviting and invoking you to please come into this, our force field, work with us here, surround us with the purest, whitest light, and keep us safe within that light so that we each one will get and derive the most that we can out of this experience. We call to our own higher self. We call to that superconscious self that is truly an aspect of the divine to kindly merge very closely with our conscious minds and our subconscious minds, and that we might work within that circuit of complete and total guidance, power, and protection to be guided to see those things that we need to see. We call to the beloved lords of karma that they would kindly oversee what we do here, and that they would take a very special care to give each one of us what we need to see, and to open those doors of vision and perception and memory that will help us to understand what our trail has been through time and space. So we call for these things. We ask for your guidance, dear ones. We call for your cooperation and your wonderful assistance so that we can, each one of us, get the most out of this experience. And we know that we shall have it. And we are content and happy to receive this. So be it. Okay. Okay, so what we're going to do is find a spot. So I would say at this point we would want to find a spot that you can sit in. If you want to move the chairs, you certainly can do that. We might even have to, actually, now that I think of it. So our first job would be that. Just find a spot. Is to get all your fidgeting done. Meaning, because, the body has to kind of find its little spot. So do all that so that you are, so you get all the little kinks out, because you want to have your body as still as possible. But this should not be like some kind of a forced thing, you understand? In other words, let your body just fall into its natural comfort place, and think of your body like your car, right? When you don't use it, you park it. That's what you're doing. Park your body. Remember, right now, everybody, make a solid determination. Do not go to sleep. Okay, only you can do that. We're all adults here. You should have enough control. I understand if it happens, it happens, okay? But, don't do it. Okay? Just don't. Okay, because, you can avoid that. You really can. It's not a matter of, because you can't, if you think you can't, then it just means that you're not aware of the fact that you have the ability to do that. And let me rouse you to that point, okay? So, go ahead and start moving within. All right? And start to feel that you are not your body. That's the first perception I would like you to have. Just begin to get a sense of that. You are not your body. Try to get a sense, because some people have never had that experience. They always have assumed that they are their body. You are not. It is what you're wearing. It's a car. It's a vehicle. It's something that's only good for this life. Next life you'll have another model, assuming you have another life, which you may and may not. We don't know. Some people are at the end of the road, and we just don't know that kind of thing. So you want to do that. Now, the next thing I would like to suggest is this, that you begin to will yourself, very, very important word here, to use your will. Now, that may sound like I'm double talking, but I'm not. What that means is you must be aware of what your will is to use it. So try to isolate will. Just like if you were, working out with a trainer and you're trying to develop muscles in the body. Let's say you wanted to develop your biceps or whatever they would be. The trainer would say, do these specific exercises, and they'll develop this particular set of muscles. Well, you have to be able to isolate that. So isolate your will. Feel it. Get a sense of your will. Your will is what you always engage to do anything and everything. If you want to get up and get a glass of water, you must engage your will. If you want to do anything, it took your will to get you here. It will take your will to go within yourself, and that's what we're going to do now. So get a sense of what your will is, please. Just a will. It's beyond intention. Intent is one thing. Intent is more mental. Will adds the emotional component to it. It's a feeling. You got to have a feeling about it. Okay. Now, here's where we're going to begin. I would like you to visualize yourself, imagine yourself standing at the bottom of a large water well. A large water well, just a big one. This would be one that's very wide and big. It's plenty lit up. Maybe it's 20 feet deep. Now, so that may strike a little fear into some of your hearts. Oh no, I'm claustrophobic or something, Well, in this case, you're not. Imagine yourself at the bottom of a large water well. It's clean water, maybe just up to about your ankles or so, maybe up to your knees if you like. But you're standing there, and get a sense of that. In this well, there is a ladder that will take you to the top of that well. So slowly, not fast, slowly start imagining yourself climbing up that ladder. Just let your mind go. This is our initial first attempt. So, be patient with yourself. If your mind drifts, just gently bring it back. It's okay. Again, this is not a test. Bless you. So you want to get to the point of walking up this well slowly. Walk up the ladder on the side of the well. Walk up the ladder slowly. Start moving slowly, up the side of the well by climbing rung by rung. Now, even though the ladder can't be too long because the well is not deep, I want you, if you don't mind, to continue to stay there climbing the ladder for a while. Just, it's like a movie that keeps playing. There's a reason for that. See, we're trying to show you how to get control of what you're seeing. So you should be able to see yourself climbing the ladder for as long as you want to. See, it's just a matter of discipline and will. It shouldn't get away from you. You decide. So just see yourself climbing the ladder as if you just keep climbing and climbing. You're not getting tired. It's not that hard to do. You're climbing and climbing and climbing this ladder up the side on the inside of this well. Climbing and climbing and climbing. Just see yourself doing that for a moment, if you would. Yes? Yes. Hold on. You're getting toward the top of that well. Start to imagine yourself getting to the top of that well. And as you come toward the top, you're noticing up above there's a clear blue sky. Just imagine that. Don't go to sleep, please. Do not go to sleep. Don't go to sleep. And you're sensing that there's wind blowing up on the top of this well. As you go a little further, you're starting to get to the top. Finally, you are at the top. When you pop your head up, I would like you to imagine yourself looking out into a very beautiful garden. A beautiful, beautiful garden. This is known as the Garden of Memory. It is an actual place. It actually does exist. It's a dimension, if you want to look at it that way. So imagine yourself looking into this garden, and then literally pull yourself up over the edge of the well and seat yourself on that well. It's a very wide well, so you can sit very comfortably there without feeling like you're going to fall in or anything. And just pull your legs over and sit there. You're now imagining yourself seated on the well, looking around you. Now take some time and survey the scenery and imagine it just beautiful, enchantingly beautiful, because it really is. This place is an actual dimension, an actual place. And it is a place that has been created long ago by the masters of the Brotherhood for this very purpose. So imagine yourself there. If your mind wanders, just gently bring it back. Don't go to sleep. Try to stay with us, if you would. Just stay in this garden. Just imagine. Again, we have to work with this discipline because you have to be able to hold your consciousness where you want it to be. That's important for this kind of a work. Don't go to sleep now. Do not go to sleep. Whatever you do, do not go to sleep. Do not go to sleep, please. I notice 2 people are drifting out. Please don't go to sleep. Stay awake. We cannot have you going to sleep. Do not go to sleep, please. Okay, be aware. That's what you need to do, is be aware. Do not go to sleep. Okay, have the discipline, please, and do not go to sleep. If you are going that way, bring yourself to a place where you're visualizing yourself looking into a beautiful garden. That's all you need to do. It's a very simple thing. Imagine it. You use your imagination like a child does, because that's why children are so wonderfully, aware of so many things. Now, I would like you to walk away from the well, and you'll notice that not far away, there's a bench you can go sit upon. Go sit on the bench. It is a beautiful bench under a tree, and it's a beautiful place to be. So go there, imagine yourself seated on that beautiful bench. Perhaps you can hear birds singing. It's real cool like about in the afternoon, maybe about 3 or 4 in the afternoon. There's a nice breeze blowing, and you need to be able to imagine yourself on this bench. This place called the Garden of Memory, has the unique feature of being able to allow you to recall things from other times. And so now we are at the point where all you need to do is wonder, where have you ever been alive on earth before? Wonder that. Just wonder. Like a child wonders. It's so interesting that children wonder so innocently. That's what you want to do. Just wonder, when and where have I ever been physically alive on earth before? That's your only assignment. Just wonder. Just wonder. Keep wondering. Just where have I been? And then pause. See what comes to you. What you want to do is keep wondering and then notice what feelings you get, what impressions you get. They're bound to be subtle. They're not going to be real, vivid, at least not usually. If so, that's good. These impressions can come to you in any kind of a way. For instance, you might suddenly get a feeling about a particular country. You might get a feeling of a particular time in history. You might notice yourself thinking about a particular type of costume that people maybe wear today or have worn. So what you're doing is you are simply wondering when and where you have been on earth before. When have you been incarnate in a physical body on earth before? Just wonder. Do not go to sleep, please. Have the discipline to stay focused. Do not go to sleep. Wonder instead where and when you have been on earth before, and stick with it. That's all you got to do. It's real simple. Stick with it. And be aware of any impressions at all. I mean, anything. Whatever comes into your focus, notice it. Follow it through. Notice it. Follow it through. Okay? Please do. Notice it. Stay with us. Okay, so whatever you want to wonder when you have been on earth before, hold your focus. Do not go to sleep. You're in the Garden of Memory. Wonder, where have I been on earth before? Where and when have I been on earth before? That's what you got to do. And whatever comes to you is what you want to notice. The impressions can be very subtle. They usually will be. Now, I'm going to stop speaking for a few minutes so you can do this, but please do not go to sleep. Please do not go to sleep. Hold your focus. Do not go to sleep. Please don't do that. Stay awake. Okay, good. Have the discipline to stay awake. This is not for a nap time. It's for investigation, research. That's what we're doing. So please stay in a research mode and be aware and wonder where and when you have been on earth before. That's all you need to do. I'm going to be quiet now, but again, please do not go to sleep. Whatever impressions you get, notice them. That's the point. Notice whatever comes to you. If you feel you may not be getting something, you need to wonder. You need to ask. It's a kind of a mental asking, you see. That's what I mean when I say wonder. Ask. Where have I been on earth before? You have. That is a fact. You have. Trust me on this one. You have. We all have. Many times. Many, many times. So of all of those times, you're bound to remember at least one. Just wonder. And let it come to you. Any impressions at all. Be patient. Don't go to sleep. Okay, some of you are getting impressions. I am aware of that. Some of you may feel like you're not. That's okay. I would like you to release whatever impressions you may be getting, and we are going to now let that go. You're still in the garden of memory. Focus there. Don't leave it, but let go of whatever you were doing a moment ago. Let's refocus, let's regroup. You're back in the garden, sitting on a bench of some kind. It can be a wooden one, a stone one, whatever you want one. But see yourself there. The next thing I'd like to suggest is this. Pick a person that you love. Somebody you love. That could be someone that you have loved in this life that's not with you now, or somebody that you love right now. Might be better if you can, pick someone that you love right now that's not gone, that's not so-called dead. Pick a person that you love. Pick a person and ask yourself, where and how have you known this person before? That's what you want to do. Where and how have you known this person before? Wonder, like a child wonders, wonder. Whatever comes, notice it. Try not to resist it. And if you start to feel like you are maybe, you might say manufacturing this or making it up, you probably are not. For the purposes of this, just go ahead and accept it if you don't mind. You probably are not just making it up. Because people wonder sometimes about that. Oh, I'm just making this up. No, you're not. Because I'm not asking you to compose, but just to wonder. There's a difference. Pick someone you love. How have you known them before? Just question it, that's all. Wonder. Whatever comes, notice it. Anything at all. It's usually very subtle. Whatever comes to you, just notice it. Don't go to sleep. Do not go to sleep. Stay with us, please. Okay. Notice where and how you might have known them, and then gently let that go as well. Let it go as well. Refocus now. Let it go. Just let it go. Even if you're curious and don't want to let it go, let it go. Have the discipline to let it go. And refocus in the garden. Refocus in the garden. And I simply want you right now to just notice the garden again. In your inner visioning, look around. Notice the garden. Notice it. Notice its beauty, colors, the flora and fauna, as they say, which means the animal life, if you want to see animal life there, and the plant life. And make up your mind that you can return to this garden whenever you want. Make up your mind that you can return whenever you want. You can return here. It's almost like for those of you who are used to working with computers, there's usually a place you can include a place you might like to go, a website, for instance, and you can put it under favorites. So after that, you don't have to look it up. Just go into your favorites and hit that, like that. Put this in your favorites. Put this with your favorites. Just, in other words, this is a place you can return to. This is a place you will return to. This is an initial exercise in contacting that place. See the garden. Know that you're going to return to it. Know that you can whenever you want to. And begin to release the awareness of that place and will yourself, through your will yourself fully back into your physical body. Fully back into your physical body. Simply will yourself back to your physical body. Become aware of the physical body. Become aware of the floor underneath you. Become aware of the room that you're in. Will yourself back, just like pouring water into a bottle. You pour it and pour it until you fill the bottle up. Okay, well, fill up your physical body with yourself. Refocus yourself back into the physical body. Refocus. Move your fingers, your toes. Become aware of the floor underneath you. And gently and slowly bring yourself back. Gently and slowly bring yourself back. And when you're ready, then you can remove the towel. It'll be very bright. Gently bring yourself back. Refocus into this room. Bring yourself back. Gently bring yourself back. Some of you, when we begin to come back, we're going, oh no, that was too short. Good. There's a reason for that. It's called whetting your appetite. Call it a tease if you want. But it was more than that. What it accomplished was also getting you used to just the process itself. That's the main purpose of it. See, I wanted you to experience it to whatever degree you did, and I wanted you to want to stay there, and I wanted you to decide, oh wait, that's kind of soon. Quite purposely. I'm working with psychology here. And that's what we want to do. So that's why I said make sure you can mentally go back there, and you will. After our lunch break, we'll come back and do it again. Now that's going to be a doozy because we've just eaten after that one. So, at this point I will have a prod, believe me. And I will, shock you with a 9-volt battery. No, I won't, of course, but at least not physically. But I can do it mentally. So it's a very simple process, as you see. We want to demystify it, obviously. So it's there's nothing mysterious about it. It's very simple. It's called getting the conditions right. That's really what it's all about. The conditions. What are the conditions? The intention, the place, quiet. No interruptions, safety, the cold towel, the physical body posture. You put all those things together, they're the ingredients. Sir Arthur Conan Doyle, my guide and dear friend, was a big advocate of that. He studied spiritualism, as you all know, and of course he was fascinated with the phenomena of the seance room. And he came to the conclusion, after studying it very carefully, that the conditions were all important. And they are. The conditions. If the conditions are right, it's like anything. Think about it, You wouldn't want to meditate at a concert, right? Wrong conditions, So there's the conditions that have to be right. So we put all the conditions together, as we did here, and your will and your desire and your intent and the cooperation of those in spirit, and it's like a cake. If you have the ingredients right, you mix it, you should have a good cake. But you realize that one of the ingredients in a cake is temperature, right? Try and bake a cake at 125. Wrong. Try and bake it at 450. Wrong. One, it doesn't cook. The other, you burn it, right? Time, if you bake it for 15 minutes, probably not. You don't bake it for 2 hours. See what I'm saying? So everything is an ingredient, just right. The time has to be just right. The conditions have to be just right. So that's what we have worked to get here. I realized it was very brief. Again, purposely, it was very brief. one of the main reasons for that, of course, as well, was just to get your feet wet, as they say. So now you have an idea of what it's like, right? You know a little bit about what it's like. You can say you've experienced it just a little bit. Okay, what I'd like to do, and again, this is not a test, there's no right and wrong and all that, but I would like to, even in the course of our brief little foray to that place, did anyone have any impressions that they can recall right now? Did anybody have anything that came to them? Did you? Okay.
The first part for where I got a sense of concrete steps and kind of like steps but on a pathway steps.
Okay.
And then things hanging down like tents, like yellow and black. And so...
did you have a sense of...
I had a sense of the Middle East, like Jerusalem or someplace where the steps, where it's windy, but there's steps and then there's part of the road, but it was sort of, it was old.
Interesting. Oh. You see, notice now you got the details. See, that's what I mean. That's the thing. You never know what you're going to get, and it can be just like what you did. Some people, I remember one lady. She kept saying she wasn't getting anything, and I said, "Well, nothing else. Just no. All I keep seeing are these wooden shoes. I see these wooden shoes." And I go, "Well, then you are getting something, aren't you?" And she goes, "I said, what do wooden shoes mean? Most of us think Holland, right? I don't know anywhere else where I would associate." And the minute we said that, she went right into it, and then she remembered every little thing, including a certain street she lived on, and she actually almost said the name of it. It was that down to those kinds of details, And this is like anything. It's an ability that we develop and we cultivate with practice. So if some of you felt like you didn't get anything or very much, that's okay. Try not to dwell on that. Try not to even acknowledge that if you don't mind, because you don't want to do that. Again, it's counterproductive. So for now, don't even say, well, I didn't, Just, if you don't mind, and this is not lying to yourself, why not just have this sense of, I was in a introspective state seeking to get information about my past lives, and I shall do so before this day is up. That would be the more positive way to deal with it, you see. Instead of coming to the conclusion, I didn't get anything, because that, again, it doesn't, number one, technically it's really not even true, because you probably did, and just didn't quite know how to log it or catalog it in. That's what happens, really. This is a different kind of shall I say, frequency of energy and of information. It's not what we're used to. Most of us are used to things like reading the newspaper or talking on the phone. It's very solid, Somebody shouts your name. These are very solid physical things. This is a whole different genre of perception. So we got to get used to it. So, did anybody else get any impressions? Did you?
Yeah.
Well, I'd like to hear them all, really, but how about Raina first?
The time when thinking of Marie Antoinette and those the things with the real tight corset.
Yeah.
Corsets, and then I also had this sense that when we went to the person who you love, I went to my mother, and I got this really uncomfortable feeling that I was her mean husband.
Oh, okay. No, that's okay. No, yeah. See, that was one of the things I said. You're going to come up with those things. It's inevitable, right? Our past was full of our mistakes. But I bet you're nice to her now, aren't you? See, pretty much. Just when she mouths off,
But I had a really hard time. I didn't think I would. That I would. I didn't think I was going to fall asleep. I was one that was like, stay awake. And I didn't think that I was going to have that problem.
Yeah. I think it's because most of us, when we lay down like this, that's all we ever do. Let's face it. When you lay down and close your eyes and get that comfy, what happens next? Boom, you're out, right? And having reinforced that, that's why it isn't easy to stay awake. I know that. That's why I keep harping on it. It's discipline, as I said, discipline, but that's why it's okay to do that, really. But we just make the effort and get better at it. It's like anything. Yeah, but thanks for trying. See, it worked, paid off. Don, what were, you had some?
I saw a really clear picture of nuns.
Of nuns, okay.
And long, when they had all that stuff that they wore.
Yes, Excuse me.
And rosary went along their waist.
Yes, yeah.
And then almost like a picture of a shrine, I think. Like when you go behind the altar.
Yes, yes.
There's something that only the priest sees.
Uh-huh.
That,
Oh, interesting.
like, and then like gladiator, metal stuff I was looking
Like,
at.
oh.
Wearing.
Ah, I see. Okay. Well, that's interesting. Yeah, it is. It is. Whoop. That's interesting. Okay, good. Yeah, it's good to notice those things, and that's why I'm asking you, inviting you all to talk about it, because if you did get impressions, when you speak it, it also objectifies it. It brings it out into this dimension, which is where we want to anchor it. So, thanks. Okay, who else? Was it Janice over there?
I was just going to say, for the message for not falling asleep, I remember because I know sometimes the subconscious mind hears the last word that you say, and puts that in the memory, and you want the beginning part. Don't fall asleep, so it puts sleep in. So stay awake.
There you go. Thank you. Thank you. Very good. Yeah.
Because the brain gets the message awake.
Thank you. Okay, very good. Thank you. Very, very good. Yeah, yeah. I usually bounce between those two. Stay awake. Stay awake. Don't fall asleep. But you're right. I will not even say sleep. That's an excellent idea. Thank you very much for that. Was this you? Okay.
Egypt. In some white robe. I almost want to say in tombing, or
Oh, I see. Yeah. They're big on that, They like their tombs.
working with the embalming or something or other.
Ah, interesting.
Just watching,
Interesting.
overseeing it, or
Oh, interesting.
something or
Interesting.
other in it.
As you're saying that, I'm sensing you were a man then and not a lady.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And just the whole processes of it.
Mm-hmm.
And then,
It's very intricate, that whole
Yeah.
thing, yeah.
and then with the loved person was my mom,
Uh-huh.
and we were sisters.
Oh, interesting.
Here, I think I'm one of the other. I get the big island and just laughing.
Oh, neat.
Playing
That's neat.
around.
It's neat, yeah. Yeah, it's the reason I usually do that, because again, anyone that we love, that's why I say love. Later we'll get to the one you don't, but because then there's a natural willingness to want to know, right? How do I know this person before like that? It's kind of neat.
What was really nice was the Garden of Memory. It was like just before you would say something. It was like
You were seeing it?
I was seeing it.
Oh, neat. Yeah.
Getting up and sitting down on the well, and then the
bench and
trees,
things,
and then the bench. But it was just beautiful.
Yeah.
The intensity of the colors.
Yes.
And
Yes. It's a real place. It's an absolutely real place.
the beauty of it.
Yeah. It really exists. It was created long ago for that very purpose, for the students or the masters to go there, and it's charged with that particular ability of when you're there, you remember things you don't normally. Later, by the way, one of the things we're going to do later is when we're in that garden, we're going to ask you from there to check out the role you're playing on Earth right now. That's an interesting one, because then you get to see yourself in a whole different light. You observe it like a character in a play, which is really what we're doing. It's just another character, which is one of the many.
Can I ask about the garden?
Yes.
Should it look the same? I mean,
Uh,
the place that's been created.
What do you mean look the same? You mean... Well, no, because everybody will see what they see inwardly. I just say a beautiful garden, and you'll see what you see. You see what I mean? Basically, most people will imagine a place with a lot of trees and probably a lot of grass and rolling things, but it could be anything, Okay, yeah. There's no one way it has to look, but it's just a beautiful place, yeah. What's that?
Like waterfall.
Yeah. Because it's incredibly beautiful. Yeah. I've been there many times, and it's all kinds of, beautiful. Yes, Eileen.
The garden doesn't have to be a garden. It can be just like,
Okay, what was that?
it doesn't have to really be a garden.
Right. Go on.
I saw a crystal bench and lots of vivid colors.
Uh-huh. Well, we invited the presence of our higher selves to guide this. So if there's a reason why you needed to see that, that's what you saw. Do you see what I'm saying? That's why, which was like kind of what we were just saying. No, it does. Yeah. That's what I mean. See, everyone's going to have their own inner experience, such as it is. If your higher self feels that you can get better results by not being, let's say, in a garden, then that's not where you'll be. See what I'm saying? You'll be wherever you need to be. I mean, here's just an example. This is just an example, not a psychic impression. What if you were killed in a garden once? A real beautiful one. Well, you don't want to go there. See? See, that's just an example. See? So no, you might not, so your higher self knowing that would say, well, let's not take her to the garden, shall we? You know, let's take her somewhere else. A crystal cathedral, anything, you know? See what I'm saying? The idea is that it is a place that one can anchor. It's a dimensional locale. It's a site. It is a real place. Versus you're just kind of floating in space and wee out there in the middle of, you know, la la land. There needs to be a sense of a solidity, because then you need to be able to be somewhere so that from that point you can perceive. See, that's why that is. That's why we use that. Okay, anybody else? No one else?
Mine isn't as pretty as everybody else's.
Okay.
So, the first impression I got was kind of, where is this? And I realized I was looking at steel or machinery. You know, it was like I couldn't figure out where it was, but it was very solid, and I could, I guess my mind went into like even kind of looking really closely at some of the stuff. And then
that was when you were asking when you'd been on Earth before?
Yeah.
The first thing?
Where show me a past life.
Yeah.
And then when you said something about a loved one, I guess the only thing I saw was, couldn't figure out what it was, but once again it was like this, it was very old looking, couldn't figure out what it was, but it had a door and there were several of them, and when I came out I thought, furnace.
A furnace? Oh, you mean for a loved one?
Yeah.
Did you pick someone though, right?
Yeah.
Who you love, and you want to know when you would, how you'd known them?
Where
and when. How? Yeah.
Yes, I thought it was kind of interesting. The impression I got was those Auschwitz furnaces.
Oh.
But I wasn't sure, and I thought, you know, I've learned not to